My friend, my dude, I don't have any kind of script for this video, but I was sitting and I was contemplating, and what came to mind was three non-obvious truths that if I would have known in my 20s would have saved me potentially decades of suffering and confusion, and I'm going to share those with you. And even if you're not in your 20s, that's okay. Some of these things, like I said, they are non-obvious truths. So someone could be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and still not have this understanding, and that's okay. So let's dive into it. I'm going to explore both the physical, mental, and the spiritual. So I'm going to give you profound pieces of advice that would have drastically helped me had someone communicated this in simple layman terms. So I'll do my best to put this into language for you. So the first non-obvious truth, we're going to start with the physical, okay? A lot of us, when we're young men, we see superhero films, right? We've got action figures. We want to be in really good shape. And, it's like, cool, I want to have a good physique, right? What does it take to do that? But we're fed all kinds of bullshit on the internet specifically. A lot of the advice that's given, it's coming from guys who are on steroids, some form of PEDs, which stands for performance enhancing drugs. And the advice that they give you is valid if you're on performance enhancing drugs. If you are a natural lifter and you're trying to do this without putting drugs into your body, which is something I highly recommend, unless of course bodybuilding is like your life's purpose and calling, so much in fact that you're okay with potentially shaving off 5, 10, or 15 years off of your life and visually aging faster in your face. People are oftentimes shocked when I tell them I'm 37 years old. Okay? I'm almost 40. And there are dudes in the gym that I know, that I've talked to, and then I realized they're like 19 years old, and I thought they were 40. So, don't take the easy way into getting that superhero physique. So, the truth that I wish I knew, and I'm gonna kind of dive into this, is, for a natural lifter, you need a lot of resting. So going to the gym just maybe 3 times a week, really focusing on compound lifts, getting stronger, and like incline press, some kind of like squat, overhead press for shoulders if you want like that kind of superhero physique. That's what it's going to take in the weightlifting department, okay? Progressive overload every week, trying to get stronger in those lifts. And by the way, I'm really simplifying this stuff into like really basic language, and if this intrigues you, you're going to want to do deeper research into this, but I'm just kind of giving you the groundwork, okay, just to kind of understand. And then as far as nutrition goes, all you need is 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass, okay, so it's not as much as you think. So you can take 0.8 times what you would essentially weigh if you didn't have a bunch of body fat, and that's all the protein that you need. And then to lose body fat, you just need to get into a calorie deficit. Oh my God, that's it. There's no quick way to like burn fat off your gut or to target fat loss. You just find out what your maintenance calories are. You can Google that, and then deduct, if you have a lot of body fat to lose, you can deduct like 1,000 calories, okay? You can be in like a 1,000 calorie deficit if you have like 50 pounds or more to lose. And then once you get a little leaner, then just 500 calories deficit. This is literally all you need to know when it comes to getting into really good shape as a natural who doesn't want to destroy their body through performance enhancing drugs. And I tried all kinds of fads in my youth, and I got really frustrated. Another thing, as a natural lifter, you will wake up on days, if you've made a lot of progress, and you look in the mirror and you'll be like, wow, I look fucking amazing. I look lean. I look like I have a good amount of muscle for my frame. And then other days you'll wake up and you'll look in the mirror and be like, I don't even look like I lift. And this is just part of being a natural lifter. Okay, so get used to that. It's okay. The whole body dysmorphia thing is real. So I wanted to share this because as men, you know, we want to be the physical representation of a strong man. You will learn as your body changes that internal strength matters way more than external strength. But external strength is just kind of like an outward representation. If you do, you know, this whole self-improvement thing right, it's just an outward manifestation of your inner world. It just means you take care of yourself. You can stick to something. You love yourself, hopefully. If you've stuck to it this long, then you care about yourself, you know? And not from a narcissistic standpoint, but, you know, all you got is you. You know, you are the center of your experience of reality. So you need to learn how to fall in love with yourself. We'll get more into that. Okay, so that's on the physical. The second thing I want to share with you is mental, okay? And if I would have started reading books earlier, it would have changed my whole life. And then once I discovered reading books, if I didn't have this egoic, like mental metric of like, I need to read as many books as possible, but just found 1, 2, or 3 books that were life-changing and profound and just kind of read those and really digested them, took notes, read them slowly so that way I could understand it on a deep level, not just so I can get through the book and my ego can be like, I've read 20 books this year. A book that really changed my life personally is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, okay? This gave me the mental groundwork of how to start building into the man that I wanted to be, how to set goals. And that book is also a very deeply spiritual book. It's by Stephen Covey. But that's just an example of a book that when I discovered it, I should have just read that book over and over again because it was so dense with knowledge and things that I could apply, that I could start to create these mental habits, which would have set the groundwork a lot sooner for goals and the man that I wanted to become. And, you know, you could check out that book. But for you, it could be a totally different book, okay? It doesn't matter what the book is. You just need to humble yourself enough to begin to know that you don't know what you don't know. And start to put the frameworks in place for you to build the habits that you need to become the man that you need to be. Another good book, I've never read it, apparently Atomic Habits. I've got a lot of clients who talk about that. I've never read it, but sometimes I talk about like ingraining habits and like, you know, training your mind to where, you know, for instance, like dialing in nutrition or waking up at a certain time, or being aware of the voice of self-loathing, like just different disciplines. When I talk about slowly putting those in place, they always ask me, oh, have you read Atomic Habits? Haven't read it. It's probably a great book. It doesn't matter at the end of the day what the book is or the books are, but just delve into it and humble yourself, download the knowledge so you can have the framework and groundworks in place so your mind isn't just doing random things throughout the day. Another thing that falls into the category of the mind is just things like understanding finances and money, okay? Yes, more money is nice. It can be helpful. But I know millionaires who are extremely stressed about money and can barely pay their bills because every time that they level up and make more money, they do this thing called lifestyle inflation because their ego has to prove to the outside world that they have success. If you're making $2,000 a month right now, and then all of a sudden you make $10,000 a month, and that's like a consistent thing, before you start spending more money, just give it a few months. Ease into it. Don't be like, I need to get a new car now. If you have a car that's paid off and it works, or you have a low car payment, don't give in to the immediate egoic urge to buy a new car simply so other people can see that you're having some success. That shit does not matter, okay? What people think really, truthfully, does not matter, okay? But it takes time, you know, and if you're young, a lot of times we have to make our own mistakes. You might not be able to take my word for it, and you might have to learn that lesson the hard way. Okay, and then the third, and we're going through these really fast. If you've made it this far in the video and you have any questions, put them in the comments, or say something like, "This is landing," just so I can acknowledge you. I appreciate you and your attention span being longer than 2 minutes. So the third non-obvious truth is that spirituality is the most important thing. And that's not obvious. To a lot of people, it seems like this woo-woo aspect. But if you have a spiritual awakening, or better yet, let me back up for a second. Imagine you're having a dream, right? You're sleeping, and in the dream, you're either having a nightmare or it's just kind of like an uncomfortable dream. Like you're just like, I don't like this. This is difficult. Like I'm kind of suffering in this dream. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, look at that. It was just a dream. All that stress in the dream, all this pontificating on how I'm going to pull myself out of this situation. It was just a dream. That's actually true of this reality. If you have a deep spiritual awakening, what it feels like is waking up from a dream times 100. You realize all the things that you identify with, all the things that you're stressed out about, it's all a dream. That movie, The Matrix, is the best metaphor imaginable for what a spiritual awakening is like. And if you are one of the 1 or 2% that has actually had a spiritual awakening, you're hearing me say these things and you're probably just smiling from ear to ear. And you're just like, oh, he knows. Wow, that's crazy. Because it's very rare. And immediately the ego will want to turn this into an accomplishment as well. It'll want to be like, oh, I need to have a spiritual awakening so that way I can be enlightened and be better than everyone else. But it's not like that, because when you have an awakening, it actually lessens your ego, and any love that you have for yourself, it starts to extend out to other people. The idea of separation becomes a lot less. And when you have a spiritual awakening and you experience the depth of that love, you want to help others experience that deeply. Not to get anything, but just because you love them. And that might sound insane, but this is the fundamental truth that all religious teachings are pointing to. But the mind, of course, gets attached and addicted to specific religions or protocols and overly identifies with them. But if you have a genuine spiritual awakening, it's very profound. Awakening from the matrix is not what people tell you, okay? It's not the red pill thing with, oh, women and dating and female nature. It's not the Andrew Tate thing of learn how to manipulate women so they'll have sex with you and you can make millions of dollars and get a Bugatti and the government can't control you as easily. That's not waking up from the matrix, dude. If anything, that actually puts you deeper into the matrix of this physical reality. And yeah, that's not awakening from the matrix. That's actually going deeper into ego. So that being said, the spiritual seeking, it's one of the most difficult things that you will ever do. You will have to unravel all of your own self-deceptions, all of the things that you identify. You'll have to question all of the beliefs that you have, whether it's religious or political or how you see yourself and other people. And that's where that term ego death comes from. And you will experience what it is to die, what it feels like. But then there's a rebirth, and then you're back into this reality. Your ego goes back to like a homeostasis, okay? You're kind of back in your ego. But you can't unsee the truth once you see it. And then you'll start to take other work serious. Like, okay, let me unravel my beliefs. Let me have a daily meditation practice. Let me learn how to forgive. Let me learn how to love my neighbor as myself, as Jesus, Yeshua put it, because you learn that your neighbor is yourself. To love God with all your heart, because God is your heart. So I'm just touching on these things, and if that's too far out for you, then just go back to the first tips, okay? Learn how to take care of your body, learn how to get out of survival, develop a healthy ego. That's all part of the journey. You can't skip that stuff. And, mentally and financially, if you start making money, don't spend it on bullshit that's just meant to impress other people. Be smart about it, right? If you're someone who has never taken vitamins, it's like, cool, now you can afford vitamins. Look at that. Now you can afford things like organic food. Get out of that scarcity mentality. Start doubling down on loving yourself by loving the vehicle that encapsulates your human experience. So I know I've quick fired a lot of things at you. We've touched on the physical, the mental, and the most important, the spiritual. And even though the spiritual is most important, a lot of times you need to ease your way into it. And you start to discover self-love by starting at square one, which is just getting your physical health in order. If it's coming from an egoic place of, I just want to be ripped and look like a superhero, then that's fine. Start there, okay? But as you do that, just keep your peripheral on those deeper aspects. Just know that, okay, maybe this reality, there's a lot more to it than my mind and ego can understand. I hope this resonates with you. I hope there's some nugget in here that allows you to start taking action, to start asking deeper questions, to zoom out a little bit, look at your cyclic mental habits. That's all I got for you, man. Put it in the comments here if you have any questions. You are loved, you matter, and you have barely scratched the surface of what you're capable of. I'll talk to you soon.